Raven's
Welcome back. Late night edition, Real Talk, episode 11, the final four, Shooters edition. Plugs are in. Let's get to it, man. I am here with my co-host, Max and Millions, man. Max, been a shooter for a while, my boy.
Yeah, man. New to it. I mean, not new to it, true to it.
Plug in, man. Again, fellas, man, as you watch the real NFL season come to the playoffs, we are not that far out from our starting our RDL 7 league. I keep telling y'all, catching fire, RDL, right? The quarter quail, anything goes. If you are a fan of the franchise Hunger Games, and you understand what I mean when I say quarter quail. Um, I'm looking to do a lot of things for this league. I'm also looking to fill the league up as fast as possible. And right now, we're doing a pretty good job of that. So if you are an original member in this league and you are a guy that plays in my leagues, don't wait too late. Don't be the one complaining later on. We are taking the first 31 and we are not that far off that mark. So my only plug is RDL 7. Sign up. Let's go. Get to it. At this point, Max, there's four teams left, 2 games to play on each side. 1 game on the AFC side, 1 game on the NFC side, and it's going to narrow it down to the final 2 to play in the Big Dipper, right? At this point, I would say, somewhere between 90%, 95% of the league have already cleaned their lockers out. And if you are one of those guys that have cleaned your locker out, your work isn't done. Max, do you think that this is the most important part of football when you're not playing anymore and you're getting ready to set yourself up for the following season? How important is that to those guys that are already in off season mode?
Um, I think it's important for them to already start it just because one, you understand what you've been missing, your holes, and what keys you need to fill to make yourself either, competing for your division or fighting for your division or fighting for a playoff spot or fighting for a playoff win. You're just trying to get, better every year to a degree from, the year before.
This is the part of the time where the GM that you're paying, your owner is paying the GM and the scouts all year long to go out there and make jobs easier, but this is where they earn their paychecks at. Um, so I'll ask you, Max, do you feel as though we're going to see some blockbusters getting done this year?
Um,
It's been fairly quiet on that department.
I think we'll see some splash players, but I don't know about blockbusters. I think that'll be a little bit right before the draft. I could see some teams seeing the
Vikings.
combine and get desperate real quick.
Let's talk about the playoff tree for a second. I'm gonna ask you to give me the team. I want the NFC side and the AFC side. What team do you expect to be that or up that rising team that was already in the playoff this year? Out of the playoff teams that we've seen on this tree, on the 2025 NFL playoff tree, what team you think should have high expect if their fan base should be excited and have high expectations for them to elevate even farther than what they were? Let's start with the NFC side.
Mm, think about it for a second. Hold on.
Let's go, co-host. I need you locked in, not texting, hollering at your girl, all that shit.
Broncos.
I need a team. For those that are watching, look at the playoff tree right now, and I would like for y'all to comment what team from that playoff
Uh,
tree in the NFC side that y'all think are going to elevate even better next year.
I, I feel like I gotta go either Falcons or Falcons or
Falcons.
Rams. I say Falcons or Rams on the NFC.
I'm on the same boat.
Or
Falcons
Seahawks.
are.
Because I don't know if they can go. I don't know
Falcons.
if the Falcons, because the divisional, depending on who, the divisional matchup is a good spot to go back to, but can they elevate past it? That just will depend. But I think they can easily get
When
back to that same spot.
let's go Falcons first. Let's really dig into this. All right, so let's go Falcons first for a second. What they got to look forward to, right? Now, the NFC South is not no division you can just sneeze at right now. That division is up there amongst the top divisions in the league, right? So let's go take a look at the Falcons and just what they got to look forward to next year. All right. Look, Desmond Ritter has under young Camden's tutelage, under his
He made a
guidance,
run with it if he didn't build.
under his guidance,
Team.
we've been having great seasons out of Ritter. Ritter's been, I mean, he's been playing lights out. I mean, they absolutely found their franchise quarterback. I don't think they need to go any farther than Desmond Ritter. And my question to you, Max, does it start and end with Desmond Ritter though?
Bucks.
Um, for Game of Thrones, I think he could. I think he could.
All right, so I think Ritter, I mean, since, let's go back since 2023. He had a 5,300 yards of passing and 41 for 63 picks. But since he's been under young Camden's guidance, this guy has 107 QBR. He's been a 5,000 yard quarterback,
Madden
45 touchdowns, 36
intelligence.
picks, and he rose his game to a higher level, 119.1. That's what you want to see. You want to see a quarterback go rookie year 71.8 to 78 to 100.7 to 119.1, and each year his yards went up. And if you paid attention to it, each year his interceptions touchdown ratio changed. This quarterback is playing lights out. Now they spent investment through the draft on that offensive line. This team's pretty solid, man. I mean, they still got Ronnie Stanley leading the way at the left tackle over there, but they've drafted two really good young linemen to go along with Desmond Ritter. I like this team, 68%. I like the completion percentage over here. We got to see something out of their run game. Look, man, Deion Weaver with the 28 on at 5'8", he reminds me of Warwick Dunn in a sense. I can't really give him the Warwick Dunn title with Hanif Anderson in this division, but how do you feel about their run game and their running back?
Um, I think this could be like a good learning point from them or a gaining point right here. I think either Weaver's got to be bought into more or uh yeah, I would just say Weaver's got to be bought into a little bit more. I
I
don't think
think the
Desmond Ritter is
playoffs.
that type of dual
I,
threat
I,
to
I,
lead.
I absolutely think the playoffs. They learned something about Deion Weaver. They learned that he's the guy. He can be a dog for this football team. I mean, if you think about that Eagles game in the wild card round and what he did in that game, I think they can trust to hand the ball off to this guy a little bit more. But my question to you is this their running back? Do you feel like they need to invest there more, or this is their guy?
For the coach, I would say this is their guy.
Okay. All right. So we like their run game. They probably could go get another running back if if it's not a necessity, but it would be a nice look to have another guy over there. There's one thing I can say about the offense coordinator over here. He does a really, really good job of distributing the ball to his athletes and putting those guys in situations that they're great at. Let's start with Drake London. I mean, just the high ball red zone throwing that they do with him uh, is absolutely magnificent in my opinion, bro. Like the fact that they understand they have a 6'4" receiver and think that what they do with that 6'4" receiver shows me and tells me that this offensive coordinator gets it. 58 catches, 1172. He averaged 20 yards a catch, 16 touchdowns on the year. I mean, that's most number one receiver stats throughout the league. So for him to be, in a system where there's a whole bunch of targets they go after, I mean, they're great numbers for Drake London. How you feel like Drake London has a home here?
Um, I think he should. I don't know if the coach is completely bought in on having big receivers. He's made it like pretty self-evident that smaller receivers give him a better grip of things. It seems like with having one or two big receivers there, so it'll be interesting to see. I think London should have a home there, but he could be something that you capitalize off of if you're gonna go receiver in the draft bucket anyways,
I
probably.
can
So
I can tell you this: if they decide to draft a receiver, and this coach is known for drafting receivers every draft. If they are, I think they can really capitalize off of putting Drake London on the block.
hmm
All right, so we already talked about Deion Weaver, 66 catches out the backfield. He almost had 1,000 yards as a receiver. Um, for this team as well, 8 touchdowns. He was a dog this year. Calvin Ridley, was he a surprise for you this year? But think about it, he wasn't quiet. 69 catches for 1,300 yards, 18.8 yards a catch. He had 7 touchdowns on the year, and when they needed him, he showed up big in the Eagles game. Calvin is going into year 8. What's the future for Calvin Ridley? on his Atlanta Falcons team.
A replacement coming soon, I would say. Definitely.
I think this though, like I feel you and I hear you on that. My problem is this: the replacement is already on the team. Sometimes we get, all right, Calvin Ridley's old, we're gonna get rid of him, maybe trade him, see what we can get for him, whatever the case may be, and then you go draft it or go find another receiver. I don't think this team is in that and that it has that issue. Look, man, Ladarius Tucker, 89 catches on the year for 1673. He also had 18.8 yards a catch and 21 receiving touchdowns. Kyle Pitts is a monster. Where would you place him amongst the tight ends in this league? 98 catches this year, 1,503 and 14 touchdowns.
Like definitely top three, easy. This
Top
year,
three.
yeah, this year definitely top three, easy. Pitts to me is definitely biasly kept. He's no farther than top five, like tight end for sure, and he's not really five.
All right, so when you look at their receiving room, they had 4,000-yard receivers on their roster. They had three guys that went over 10 double digits in touchdowns, right? 10 or more, with Ladarius Tucker being that guy with 21. London was 16, Kyle Pitts had 14, and then the running back Weaver had 8, along with Ridley 7. I don't think this team, I mean, to me personally, this team just needs to get more work. And what I mean by that is another offseason with them is offseason workouts, right? And just continue to tune it up. I think they are completely where they need to be. Look, man, their opponent last night said something in chat that stuck with me, and I think this is a something that young Cannon should take as a great compliment from somebody who, you should really want to hear his voice on what he thinks of you as a player. I think he earned that, right? And after the game, Coach Falk was like, he reminded me of back in the day, me, 18, 17, man. Um, he said he was nervous and scared. He had to go for it on fourth down because this guy was hitting everything. I mean, he was seeing the field. It wasn't like he was scared throwing, right? It wasn't like he was safe throwing. I can get into that mode where I'll safe throw. He actually let his quarterback scan and read the field, and he played the game that way, the entire game that way. And he drew a lot of compliments from the Cardinals coaching staff on how this offense is, to him, and the numbers are showing it, is up there with. I honestly might call him, like, we might have to really rank him somewhere in that top three when it comes down to passing the football and seeing the field and calling the right things and understanding his team players and what he's trying to do scheme wise. That's a huge compliment, and I think all they need to do is continue to tune it up and get better. And then remember, they got a young draft class that came in. They got to really get that thing developed and get those guys grown up. But when it comes down to the offense, the Atlanta Falcons is really second to not too many, right? This team has an explosive offense. Um, on the flip side of that, the defense has to catch up to it. I know that's something you said a couple of times on the show. Defensively, they got to catch up to what they can do offensively because they can score with anybody. Um, but how to, playing this team twice a season, man? How do you feel? Where do you feel, or how far off are they away from having a dominant offense and defense? Let's take a look at their defense. All right, I'm rocking this thing. Let's go. Julius Dalton, 33 assisted tackles. He had 52 solos, 85 tackles total. The man had 6 interceptions. Let's look at what their pass rush looked like. Deshaun Ware in his second season, 12 and a half sacks. They brought Rashawn Gary in from the Packers, 11 sacks on the year. And then Randy Phillips is a 1 year player, 9.5 sacks. And they got, sauce juice from the rest of these guys. In the secondary, when it comes down to INTs, Gerald Bond, their number one pick last year, had 16 interceptions. The man, 16 picks, 5 deflections. I mean, he was picking, he wasn't dropping a lot of balls or batting shit down. He was either picking it off or making a tackle. with 66 tackles on the season. All right, Victor Graham, 6'4", 223, big time player out of LSU, good speed, good size. He's going into his third season. He had 11 interceptions on the year. Now, another first round pick of theirs, AJ Terrell Jr., stepped up with 9. He had 65 tackles as well. They balled out. They brought in Sean Murphy Bunting. He had 7 picks on the year. So this team really got to the football, man. Julius Dalton, we talked about him, 85 tackles on the year, but he had 6 INTs as well. I think he led the team in deflections as well. The funny thing is they picked up a bunch of Bucks castaways, Jamil Dean, Murphy Bunting, picked up guys that got let go from the Bucks, and they picked it up and added to it. So let's see what they do defensively. Because the better they get on defense, the more dominant this team will be as overall. I think the Falcons have arrived. Let's give it up for them. Young Camden has turned this program around, completely turned this program around from their latter days of, looking at scores and seeing them giving up 60 and 50 and 60 points to their opponents. That they're far away from that now. I mean, they actually are a competing team and one of those hot teams that you need to really look at. I think this team is headed in the right direction to be able to win this division, to be honest with you. The problem is, as they are an elevated team, their division is elevated as well. Because even the team that's at the bottom of the total poem in this division is starting to do some things over there roster wise that's starting to be able to catch up to what they need to do in this league, right? And that's the New Orleans Saints. Now, with that being said, the NFC South is a loaded division with some really good coaches in that division. And for the Falcons to continue to elevate, they have to be able to dominate their division first, right? And it starts with Panthers, Bucks, and the Saints, the other 3 opponents in that division. How do they fare and match up to those players and those coaches and that team in their division? I think they starting to get it. It's a few teams though over here. We're looking at the Saints and see how they're gonna put it together after this offseason. Again, I think they put their team through a really, really vigorous training uh, uh, regiment, right? And they got some guys faster, bigger, and stronger. So the Saints are on their way, right? They got a ways to go, but they're on their way. But when you look at this division, man, the Bucks tore the draft up last year, and they have the opportunity to do so again. They really do. So let's start with the Bucks first. Let's go before the Bucks, and let's go look at what that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team look like. When you're thinking about the Buccaneers, we do think Antron Leftwich, is their guy. Man, look, this guy was trained by Tom Brady for a season, but his dad is their offensive coordinator, right? You got Leftwich, Brian Leftwich as their offensive coordinator. Antron, you know, the offense is his. He understands it. Now we're looking at numbers that you don't want to see out of your guy, but let's not forget that he was just a rookie not too long ago, right? And he's coming from a heavy ran offense more than a passing offense. And I think they took this year to really, figure out something in the passing game. Now, I don't like the numbers. Let's sit here and act like I do. I do not like the numbers, but I do like the weapon that's at their QB1 position. And I think the Bucks are doing a good job of establishing uh, some type of ground of what this guy is about. When you take a look at Leftwich, you're looking at a guy that's a dual threat quarterback, right? You got a guy that has the arm power. You got a guy that has the accuracy at every level, short, medium, and deep. You got a guy that can move around the pocket, right? You got a guy that's a play action solid dog there. Under pressure, he's solid there. Break sacks, he's solid. Then you're looking at a guy that's 221 pounds at 6'4". That stature is perfect. But then you're also dealing with a dual threat, 90 speed, 92 excel. So we're looking at a guy that got 4 or 5 speed. They are doing a good job of trying to get this passing game elevated as well as using him as a runner in this offense. And I think the Bucks they haven't even tipped the scale yet. They've been playing with their head halfway underwater, right? That's what I'll say. They've been playing with that because they had to do a lot of things to revamp this team from the first year blockbuster they did with the Ramsey and Aaron Donald trade. But when you look at this quarterback, man, he to me he's what they need. When you look at their run game, 100 yards, I think they have to step it up here. I would like to see him with at least 60 touches next year in the run game. somewhere between 60 and 70 touches next year in the run game. That 5.9 yards is not bad at all, right? But 3.1 is bad because if you turn that to 15 carries and you average averaging 5.9, like 5.9 a game ain't gonna cut it. But we need to get him somewhere to about 5 to 6 yards. Your quarterback got to be like 5 to 6 yards per carry, and really be a vital part of this offense. They have so many layers of this offense, when it comes down to the run game, that it could get scary over here. And it's almost like what we talked about with the Bears, using Justin Fields' legs a little bit more. I think when they figure it out with Antron Leftwich, I think this team can be a really scary team on offense because we know when it comes down to it, this is one of the better running coaches in the league. So if he can add Antron Leftwich to that run game, it can really get serious over here. Look, they brought in Najee Harris. That was one of the bigger moves. What I didn't like about it was I didn't like the fact that I'm a Hanif Anderson fan, man. That's my guy. We traded it to him. I get it. Najee Harris is the bell cow here. But I think this team is good enough with running the ball, with running backs itself, that Neefe can be a guy that can touch the ball 200 times in the season as well, with Najee Harris touching the ball for 200. I think they need to do a great job and using all four of their running weapons in their backfield. So why do I say that? We know what Najee Harris is, right? You look at his overall, he's sitting on a +1, so he's a 98 overall right now, right? 94 power back. He can catch the ball at the backfield. He's 242 pounds. He's getting up there in age for a running back, 27 years old, but you got him for a while. So, but while Najee is still who he is, you need in the best way possible to get this kid going, man. They have a really strong backfield, and I'll continue to show it in a second. But Hanif Anderson, look, man, he's their speed demon. He's their elusive back. I mean, the guy sitting on
Twinkly
high
high
juke, high,
inquiry.
all that
Remember the
shit with the
Falcon
Falcons
fans?
fans. And guess what?
And guess what? After that, the GOAT went to 3 more Super Bowls and won 2 of them.
Who are you? How you doing? Appreciate you for tuning in. All right, second attributes. He catch the ball out the backfield. We know we got with Neefe. I think that, talking to Snake, the Bucks are looking to go back to that Michael Vick, Ward Dunn, TJ Duckett offense, or they can flip the script and go Michael Pittman and Allstott. They have that in their backfield right now. And in fact, Allstott's son is here, right? Yeah, yep. Don't worry, he had a black wife. He black, 16 carries. I think he should touch the ball even more, man. I mean, not too many people got a fullback looking like this, right? He's still developing as a blocker for this offense, but right now 76 impact block, 74 lead. You can work with that 75 run blocking. But come on, whose fullback is sitting at 255 pounds and running like one of the faster linebackers in the league? 92 speed, 92 excel. You're not bringing him down. Let's just talk about that, right? Stiff arm 95, trucking 91. I mean, this is a hammer. They got to find a way to get him involved a little bit more. If I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it starts here because we just went crazy in the draft and built the offensive line. That's going to be one of the better offensive lines in the league. I'm seriously going to watch some. Hear me out here. I'm about to watch one of the academies, Air Force, Navy, Army, and watch some of the things they do offensively and how they doing it. Understand the blocking concepts of what they're doing, and I'm really putting that into my offense. And I'm letting those four players. You got the three running backs and the quarterback, and I'm letting them guys cause havoc in games, right? And all in the meanwhile, I'm controlling the clock. We're putting drives together because you got to stop a vigorous offense, a running attack. But it's not just the regular power trap stretch offense, right? You get a lot more of the RPO read option stuff in it, and you get some of the motions going, and you got to make the defense slow the athleticness down on defenses and allow them to have to play assignment football. And if they can start there and make people, because they got the weapons to do it when it comes down just the
Odeon to win his
backfield,
8th
they
ring.
can make
He
guys play
already broke
assignment
every record.
football.
Most wins,
This
most
team would
lines,
be
most TDs.
completely,
There is nothing left to
completely
conquer, though.
revamped and scary. What? Who is this? He said the GOAT about to win his 8th ring. He already broke every record, most wins, most. Oh, you talking about Tom Brady, most touchdowns. There's nothing left to conquer. The only thing left for the GOAT is keep winning Super Bowls. Yeah, Mando and the Commanders. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Tom Brady doing his thing in real life. Anyway, again, I think if they could find
Anthits.
a way to make this situation a little tougher over there and give this offense a run juggernaut, and let's not do the basic running, although the basic running happens here, I think they just need to get a little bit more into the option game and use those weapons in their backfield. And I think the Bucks are on to something if they get to that. I'm talking about that because I've spoken with the coach and I know he has that some of that in his repertoire. All right, so JoJo Galloway went crazy last year as a rookie. He followed it up, 95 catches, 1595, 12 touchdowns. Reaper Moss is going to be one of the scariest receivers in the NFC South going forward, right? He's the type of receiver that's going to make guys go into the draft and look for those type of builds and this type of speed with a guy that's 6'4", 225 pounds. We know what he's about, right? 96 speed, 96 excel. The guy can do it all. He's jumping out the building. You can't jam him at the line of scrimmage. And he's a go-get-it 50-50 guy. So they got themselves another dog at that receiver position, right? So if you look at the receiver, JoJo's 5'11", he's the speed demon. He's one of, you know, he's one of three true 99 speed receivers in the league. Not these guys that was 94 and got to a 99 or 96 and got to. I'm talking about day one 4.21, 4.22 speed. And having a weapon like JoJo also adds to that run game as well. With giving him the ball, from the receiver position on bubbles and jet sweeps and things like that. They have it right now. They drafted the number one ranked tight end in the draft last year, in Tony Cunningham, and he played pretty solid. 28 catches, 492, two touchdowns, and good old Mike Evans is still around. 6'5", 231. 18 catches, 442 yards, four touchdowns. Look, Snake is going to be lobbying to be able to move Mike Evans, the tight end in our league, and he's going to get denied until he's not denied. Look, the guy is 11 seasons in. He has 12 full seasons in his belt. Next year will be his 12th full season. I'm sorry, and at that point he can start lobbying for it. So I don't think we're done looking at Mike Evans, as a weapon for this team. Offensively, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are there. They got to get that scheme together to make it all come together. But they got the weapons, and they can dance with anybody in the league when it comes down to their offense because of the weapons they do have. All right, and you start with the offensive line. I mean, you go through a whole season and the most sacked person on your team is tied with 5. That's huge, right? I mean, they giving up quite absolutely nothing. You're not getting to their quarterback. I mean, 10, 14, 16, 17 sacks on the year. We just saw the Falcons quarterback get sacked 50 something times. They haven't even given up double digits. I mean, they haven't given up 20 sacks. 10, 14, 16, 17 on a year. So look, man, Shaq is in his 10th year. Jensen is in his 12th. Tristan Wirth is in his 5th year. Then you got the rookie Brett Mallard, who only giving up 2 sacks, and you got Tyrell Cloud, who only giving up 1 sack on a year. They still are, they have it. Look at Lindstrom there. These guys have it right now. So their offensive line is about to be even better next year. And they got a mixture of youth and veterans to go along with it. I like the Tampa Bay's makeup. On paper, this team is ready to be able to make some big elevated moves on the field. And then that's the thing. While we calling the Falcons a team that we're looking to elevate, this Buccaneers team has reset their roster in one quick year. It only took them one. They only had to go on getting their asses kicked for one season, and they flipped the script, right? And I think they're playing ahead of schedule at this point. My bad. Let's get back to the Bucks for a second. All right, now let's go look at the Buccaneers defense right now. Bear with me. All right, so Tampa Bay had a whole lot of draft picks, and they did a whole lot of moving to get those draft picks. Nice trades. They did a lot to put this roster together. When you want to turn your program around, it starts with the vision of your GM. And the one thing that the Bucks did was they hired one of the better GMs in the league. And because of that, they're always going to put themselves in a situation to be in the running or in the loop to get who they want, how they want, right? All right, so Devin White, young 6 years, 11 tackle for loss. He had 102 tackles at that middle linebacker spot. They in the trade with the Raiders. Uh, this is the Ramsey trade. Trayvon Moore-Ridge, 90 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. He had 10 interceptions on the year. They picked up rookie Russell Hunter out of the draft. 6'4". This was a steal too. 6'4", 216. He's the size that could play sub linebacker or back deep. He had 8 picks as a rookie. If it wasn't for Bond, we're looking at one of the better rookie DBs in the draft right here, sitting on the Bucks roster, who they drafted in the second round, I think. Um, Quincy Bramble been here since the first offseason we had. He had 4 INTs on the year, 64 tackles. Aaron Donald is playing like he's 25 years old still. 60 tackles, 32 tackles for loss, 21 and a half sacks. He went crazy on the year. And then not for nothing, they do have Gerald Bond's brother, Devontae Bond, from LSU, sitting here with 5 sacks as well as a rookie at outside linebacker. So remember, they picked up Nick Bosa. I mean, if you continue to look at what's on this team, they're making things happen right now. Terrell Edmonds got moved to the middle linebacker. Great move from them. 6'1", 217. He just cut the brink to be able to do it. Remember, you guys can't move these guys to sub linebacker if they're not 6'1" or above and 215 pounds or above. And also check the speed too, because they can't be faster than their 92 speed to get moved to sub linebacker or get moved to middle linebacker. All right, so they got a mixture of things over here. They got, come on, Shaquille Griffin over here. They got some veterans to help that youth grow up. But where the Bucks did a great job at was they attacked that front four on defense, and they did a really good job of it. They got two of the better DNs in the draft. For real talk, they got two of the better DNs in the draft. Over here. So again, you still got Zion McCollum, who was drafted by the Bucks, eight interceptions in the year. They traded the Chargers for Rashard McGee. He kicked in with 4. He had 72 tackles on the year. And not only did they bring in some guys off a trade, they also traded their fastest and probably one of their better cornerbacks to the Los Angeles Rams, and they felt that. They felt that in their secondary, but they got the pieces to be able to make shit happen right now. So I just showed you about 3 out of their 4 corners that, that's really like that. And then you're looking at 2 safeties that can play at a high level right now. So again, when you think about the Falcons and them elevating and what they can do next year, you can't put that picture together or visualize that picture without looking at that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team and saying, wait a minute. This division is really kicking forward right now. Flat out kicking forward right now. All right, now let's look at the team, the last team in their division, not the last team you're gonna look at in their division, but this is who he's at the bottom of the total poll right now. Here's the elevation for uh the Saints and what Lava gets to look for. All right, so Kai is a superstar X factor at this point now. He's not yet a 90 overall yet. He might be. Oh, yes, he is. All right, he's sitting on a -5 right now. This is what happened when you're in tank mode and losing. All right, but when you take a look at him now, he can equip him with all the shit everybody else for the most part has right now when you got X factor quarterback that's 90 or above. So now he's not going to be playing handicap at the quarterback position because he has the overall and the X factor right now to be able to do what everybody else in his division could do, which is put the right shit on their quarterback, right? So obviously he doesn't even know it yet because obviously you still see things not clicked on and done yet. But he has the ability to equip this guy and turn him into something. Now you elevate your quarterback position. That's the first thing, right? And he already was playing pretty solid. 4,300 yards, 27 touchdowns, 36 interceptions. He can flip that. 254. He had 255 yards a game right now. Sacked 60 times. That's things you got to get fixed. And that's offensive line work. When you look at the run game, Teddy Fitzgerald had 1,000 yards. in his second season. Now, 4.5 yards to carry ain't bad. 9 touchdowns, not doing bad at all. They got another running back over here, Anthony Randall, and Anthony Randall was one of the top running backs in his draft class two drafts ago. He had 9 rushing touchdowns as well. So look, 54 carries, 125 yards, 2.3. These things got to get better. Kamaka, we're gonna call him Maka. He, baby dual threat in a sense. I mean, he got the speed to get you in and out of shit. He can move the pocket, so they could do some things there with him. I think they were trying to figure out what they're going to do at the receiver position. Chris Olev, 74 catches on the year, 11-24, 9 touchdowns, superstar. They get to work there. They brought in DJ Moore, another superstar. Then Josh Allen was the draft pick they had a couple drafts ago, 6'3", 220 pounds. I think they're gonna, look to get him going a little bit more. Now that they have him on at least a superstar, they can do some things over there, change abilities. You could tell he hasn't spent no time on it because who the hell will have second win on their guy? But these are new things. This is what I meant by the strength and conditioning coach got these guys bigger, faster, and stronger. So you start to see the elevation over here. And then once you put yourself in a situation where you can keep up ability wise and you can keep up with the players you got going on, you start to change some things over here. Now, what I will say is I think they need, to figure out what they want to do with this offensive line. Let's take a look at 21 sacks given up by Trevor Penning. Kendall Dawson gave up 12. Brad Holton gave up 8. You got Ryan Ramczak gave up 7, and then my boy C's Ruiz gave up 5. The first thing you do is you make C's the captain of your offense. That's the first thing you do, right? He's the best player on your offense, first place, right? Camden, New Jersey, stand the fuck up. So you make him that guy, and then you build around all that. I do think they need to invest in this offensive line. I don't know if it's they got to go crazy in the draft with it. I think they need to invest in it and paying attention to it to get this line better because it starts there. In your division, at least 2 out of the 3 teams you got to play are really, really strong when it comes down to getting to the quarterback. So you got to get that fixed first. But then defensively, man, they got some players on this defense to me that I think can really put their name in the hat or throw their hat in the ring, however you want to say it. As we can be a top 10 player in this league. And it starts with Stoops, their safety. I mean, he's 6'3", 225 pounds, monster hitter. He had 120 tackles on the year. Their other safety, Darius Coleman, with rookie safety, comes in the league with 116 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 5 interceptions as a rookie. Glenn Scott is a player that I think that they can start to invest in a little bit now. Again, when you take a look at him, do they got the right shit on him yet? Don't know, but they could take a deep dive into him. Again, when you start looking at some of these players, you start to see the abilities there, right? You start to see some of these players have it. I also want to go to when it comes to their pass rush, look, Eli Coleman is the guy over here, period. Right? Let's get to that for a second. He's the guy over here, right? You got Chad Tiller was one of the top defensive ends in the draft. They got him over here at 9.5 sacks. He had a really good rookie year. Nathan Crothers at the D tackles position, and then you got Luke Merritt, the rookie. This was the number 1 rookie D tackle in the draft. You got him, but then you picked up Azeez Ojulari from the Giants in free agency. You got Baron Browning. You got some pieces, Davenport, but the one piece that I'm mad I don't even see his name up here is right here. I mean, they got themselves, since day one, they had themselves an Adolphe Owe sitting on their roster the entire time. So now that this kid is an X factor and he can get to the abilities, you're not lacking. And I mean, just look at this. Let's take a look at him. 92 speed. I mean, the guy's flying, bro. 270 pounds. Look him up if you don't think he ran this type of 40 to have that type of speed. Look his 40 up and you tell me why, one, thank you, Ant, because now you got a guy that you can really play with, invest with. When he wasn't developing, we brought in a strength and conditioning coach for you, and magically, poof, X Factor, dog, ready to fucking go. Right now, you got that type of speed coming off the edge, along with the other guy I was talking about. Where we at? So let's go look at Coleman, who has been playing at a super high level for him. He's another guy that got speed coming off the edge, 90 speed, 93 excel. Now you're starting to look a little cute at that front seven side of the ball on defense. Your linebacker level is pretty solid. Your DB level is getting there now. You got two strong safeties that are really good. So the cornerback room catching up to that, and now your front seven on defense is catching up to that. So right now the Saints are in position. They don't have an excuses anymore. They got a nice little offseason. They need to go grab some free agency players and go crazy in the draft. But they're in a situation now where they can look at their roster and look at the people in their division and say we can compete with those guys, right? And then the guy you gotta every all three of those teams in that division is chasing are the Panthers. I'm not gonna spend time on the Panthers at all. We'll talk about them. They still playing. I just wanted to talk about the teams that in that division on one of the teams we said are going to elevate. And then the other team you said will elevate over there was the Rams, right? And again, the Rams quarterback threw 40 touchdowns, threw 40 picks. He got them to the playoffs this year. Pretty good, solid playoff game. I think they can elevate from there. My question is, Marshall had 242 carries, and I think Marshall should touch the ball even more. He had 1,098 on 4.5 yards a pop, 64 yards a game, 10 touchdowns. I absolutely think Marshall Falk has to be way more involved in this offense for this offense to take that next step. At the receiver room, you got three receivers that had 1,000 yards. Two can get you three, so the theme is three. Um, the problem with the Rams are you're in the division with a team that's continuing to elevate in the Cardinals. The Seahawks is elevating. And then the Niners look like they're moving a little bit. They did some things. They made some trades. Their draft is going to be vital. This offseason will be vital for the 49ers. But the Seahawks is no joke in that division. The Cardinals is no joke in that division. And honestly, the Rams is no joke in that division. So the Rams to elevate, they got to really elevate, get better than the Cardinals and the Seahawks. They got a better start, winning those games, splitting, whatever the case may be. But the Rams are there. Roster wise, this team can line up with anybody at this point right now. And then this is going to be the coach's third off season with us. And because of that, might even be his fourth off season with us. Yes, fourth off season with us. And because of that, at this point, you had a whole class that came in that was your class. So your first draft class, your first class you brought in, they're going on their rookie deals is over, grade be over with at the end of the year, right? So your first class had 3 years of development with you. They're your team now. So the Rams is really the identity of the coach. So when that happens, it takes them into a situation where they can play the football they want to play. And I think we get lost with the LA Rams is this team is really, really good on defense. They can cause anybody problems on defense, and I think it's starting to add up. But Bruce Holt, you're starting to see the fastest team on turf, right? The greatest team on turf with back in the day with Marshall Falk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, uh, Marshall Falk, I said, and Kurt Warner. Well, you got that team is kind of modeled in the same mode as that team was, and they actually look like that team at times, right? Again, this team, they get themselves together defensively a little bit more, and I think, you got a team that can give anybody problems in the league. That's why I like the fact that Max did say he was looking at them as one of the teams that elevated and could be, even better next year. I do agree with that. I think the Rams can be even better next year. When you talk about the other team, sorry, so the Seahawks is not playing right now, so we can kind of go to them. Again, the Seahawks are who they are, man. They honestly they've built it. They built a legit roster, and they got what they wanted out of the quarterback, the Marion James. I don't think we're going to see the Seahawks looking for a quarterback. I think they feel like they got their franchise quarterback right now. 220 yards a game. He only took 36 sacks on the year. He played pretty well, kept them in situations. He really didn't blow their shit at all. He also was second on carries, 28. But their workhorse is Kenneth Walker the third. Look, man, 400 carries, 2,500, 36 touchdowns, 158 game. He had 105 broken tackles on the year. That's very special. That's very special. And then in the receiver room, they got speed demons, three of them, right? Ricky Newman, Quez Watkins, and you come down here to LaMichael Boyd. They got speed demons, and that's why you see such high average per catch. It's 32.3. They're speed demons, right? 14.2. You come down to Boyd, 11.4. And they getting together over there. These guys got it right now. And then defensively, I think they can play with the best of them. Let's look at the best offensive line in the league. Young Justin Griffin gave up 8 sacks on the year. Charles Cross 5. Dantes Jeffrey gave up 4. Marion gave up 4. Center rookie Rod Cole gave up 3. Again, one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the league. Defensively, they do got two studs at the D tackle position, Hodges and Warmack, as you can see, 34 and 31 right there. Both of them double digits, 16 and 13 sacks. I mean, Jeremy Irvin plays really well for them at the D end with 12 sacks. Yeah, Roquan Smith plays over there. Boya Mafa is a dog over there. My boy Hassan Reddick is still over there. They got it, right? And then in their secondary, man, you look at Tyreek Woolen, he's been doing it for 4 years straight. Young Ryan Watts coming up at right now with 11 as a rookie, as a safety for this team. They're coming up. When you think about anything over here, it's the 49ers and what they need to do, right? So, keep your eyes on it. We'll figure out what the 49ers is going to do with that team over there. What we do know is that the 49ers should have the picks out their ass right now to better really do the things they need to do to catch up with the three teams in that division, because right now they're the number 4 team in that division and they got to get it to go. They got to get it going. The one thing we will say about the 49ers, they do have their franchise quarterback in Lawrence Beckham, right? Trey Lance was in trade talks and negotiations. The trade wasn't approved yet, but if they can get that trade off, Trey Lance would be a nice little addition for them to get other more picks out of it, right? But this is what they're looking at right now off of the Bosa trade. So they got the 10th and the 16th pick of this draft. They got two twos. They got two threes. They got a 4, 5, 6. Going in the next year, they got two twos. Like, this team is ready to attack the draft. The question is, are they going to do the right things in the draft? Are they going to draft their needs and plug those holes that they absolutely have and need, or are they going to go looking for the splash players? Because they do have the arsenal to go crazy in the draft. And when you give a team, that type of firepower to attack the draft with, I mean, you're picking at 10 and 16, and then you're going to be picking at 10 at every round with your pick. So I don't think the 49ers, I think can they do what the Bucks did, kind of turn it around in one season after the draft is over, get right on the field and triple your wins. Can they do that will be the question. Um, we all will be trying to figure out. But I do think they are. I mean, let's look at this team and really think about it. At the run back position, Elijah Mitchell getting up there in age. I'm not even scared away by their backup running backs. I like them, right? You like what they got there. Looking at the receiver, Debo Samuel time has run out. Is there any Debo Samuel takers right now? Would anybody come get a Debo? And if they do come get a Debo, what would be the asking price? Like, what would if I wanted Debo Samuels? What would I be willing to give up for a 92 overall, 29-year-old receiver that should absolutely be a 99 overall receiver by now? What would I be willing to give up for Debo Samuels? And I'm gonna just say this: now that I'm looking at Debo, it should be at least 28 teams coming to call for him. One place I would not want to see Debo Sam. Two places that I would not want to see Debo Samuels at: Pittsburgh or Cincinnati. Oh my God, Pittsburgh or Cincinnati. Don't trade him there. But what you think, Max? Debo has still got something in the engine right now, man. He still got some. His tank ain't empty yet. This nigga tank ain't empty at all yet. I think he really can make some shit happen. 29 years old, his season is over, so he's absolutely 29. You got about 4 seasons with Debo. I think somebody can come get him because the speed don't scare me when he has 96 acceleration. So that don't scare me at all. I think that, and at the same time, the Niners, with that young quarterback, they can keep Debo around, but I think they need to. I know they don't have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and will not attack the receiver position in that draft. So if you're going to do that, you might as well get rid of Debo. I can guarantee you that the 49ers is not going to let 1, 2, 6 picks go by without picking a receiver. There's no way in hell it's in his DNA to go receiver. All right. Their tight end room. Kittle up there, 31 years old. They do got Elton Griffin, solid ass tight end behind him. So now let's look at the line. Trent Williams is 37. He almost about to die. Allen Glover, 21, 85 overall. Backup Aaron Banks. Looking at the center, Nick Jekyll, 77. That hurts. Jeff Goodman, he's at 86 overall. Spencer Buford backing him up. Right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. And then Tyrese Beckett backing him up. So that center position you can get filled with one of those players for right now, but he's not it. And then look, you lose Nick Bosa, but you still got Drake Jackson here. They drafted Amari Newkirk. He's not bad at all. Big body, 6'6", 310. Athletic, very athletic and strong at the DN position. Chad Grimes is in his first season. He's pretty solid at 6'6", 265. So they all right there right now. They just got to get a little bit more experience. Cordell Smith, you got Javon Kinlaw getting up there in age, but he's there so far. It looks like he's their best D tackle right now. They need some help here. Cordell Smith at 89, only 1 year in, but he, is not sitting on the ability that can hurt big time. So they need to figure something out there. Look at the linebackers, Preacher. Eh, they need a strength and conditioning coach over here as well. And then you're looking at 28-year-old Fred Warner. He's still a monster. He's still there. But they're kind of old at the middle linebacker position. So they got the picks. Maybe this is where they attack. Roy Phillips, 6'2", 215, goes from safety to linebacker for them. Khalid Cherry, solid corner. Owens is the solid rookie. They got Javarius Ward still there, good speed. Ambry Thomas, superstar with great speed. So I don't think they have a cornerback problem at all over there. In fact, they got too many damn corners over there. And then they probably got one of the fastest secondaries when it comes down to safety play in the league right now. These guys flying. Hitter and Teliano Ufanga. That's my guy. And then you got Jordan Poyer. They brought him over, and Landon Collins to help out with the youth over there. So the Niners got work to do, but they got players on their roster that they can sit down and really draw it up and figure out what to put around these players. But again, I like the Falcons and the Rams as the elevated teams over there that can really get back to the playoffs and do big things. All right. So if I'm looking at teams that should elevate and be even better next year, that's in this on this playoff tree. And the NFC, I mean the AFC, I'm going with the Broncos and the Patriots. So we picked the Falcons in. So that's crazy because we picked the seventh and the third team in the AFC, and we picked the seventh and a sixth team in the NFC. But yeah, the Patriots, I think, a full season under their belt where they can get to, an off season and really tear the draft up the way they want to tear it up and get the players they want to bring in to add to what they already have over there. I think they have something, man. Mike Cubbett stepped it up all year. Obviously, we saw what Tyquan Thornton did all year. You even got to see it in the playoff game tonight, what he did. He's that guy. And then the Broncos, I mean, look, man, Harvin Ward won the MVP. Deontay Jarrett led the defense in all the defense categories there was. They getting good play out of their safety and the kid Foe at the safety position. They're running the ball. Nasir Dale did a really good job running the ball this year for this team. And obviously, Kai Foe, the quarterback, is different, right? That guy is special. I think this team, all they got to do is continue to build it and get stronger at backup positions and get a little bit more depth, and they right back at it and can be one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC next year. Unfortunately, they're playing in the division with the veteran Raiders presence, who's still going to have that veteran team around going into next year, and then you're dealing with and then the Chargers. You got to deal with that Chargers team over there too. So the Broncos to me are an elevation move for sure. We already talked in depth last night about, the Patriots elevation. It's all about what the Dolphins do this offseason and the Bills. That's where it starts at. The Patriots are the new face of the AFC East right now, while we're waiting to see what happens with the Bills and the Dolphins. Now, I know for a fact the Dolphins ain't gonna tuck his tail. He really ready to get it together and get some shit done because he got the capital, he got the draft picks, he got the spot to do these things with. The Bills, I think it starts with Josh Allen. They got to make a big decision. Brandon got to make a decision. Is Josh Allen who we gonna go forward with, or do we blow it up and get this team rebuilt in a fastest matter if possible? Um, or it's going to be a division takeover. And I don't think neither one of the teams over there, Jets. Max, by the way, we got to get a Jets invite back. I forgot to tell you that that was the wrong person. All right, so S guy will be back in the league on the Jets. But with that being said, fellas, yeah, Broncos and the Patriots, I would say look out for those two teams on an elevation tip. Now we are sitting on the Final Four, man, championship round. This is the same matchup from last year, fellas. Same matchup from last year. So it's the repeat game. It's the get back games, or it's the continue to do what we did and move forward games. You know what I'm saying? Last year the Chargers won the game in Baltimore, and the Panthers won the game in Carolina. It's not too often when the seasons come out, when it comes down to the Final Four, you get the 1 versus 2 seed on both sides. Not too many times in our league have that happen. It happens, but not both sides in the same season. All right, so let's talk about the path guys took to get to this game right now, man. The first game we'll go look at. I don't know what game was played first. Yes, I do. All right, Cardinals Falcons game, man. Mm-mm-mm. Bear with me. Bear witness to some great football playing, great coaching happening. These guys was balling, man. This was a hell of a game. I didn't get to watch it, but I heard. I was on headset while this game was being played, man. They said this was a pretty good game, bro. So we gonna see how good is it, right? Let's dig into it. All right. Cardinals had 590 offensive yards gained. The Falcons right behind them with 452 on the ground. That sneaky run game for the Arizona Cardinals had 195 to 81 when it comes down to the Falcons. In the passing game, they barely squeezed past them, but the Cardinals ended up with 395 to the Falcons 371. They both threw the ball very well. Now, the Falcons did win the first down battle. They had 22 to the Cardinals 18. Total yards gained 675 for the Cardinals, 470 for the Falcons. In the turnover department, anytime you play Kyler Murray and Coach Falk's offense and they don't turn the ball over at all, it's going to be a long day for you. With that being said, the Falcons only turned the ball over twice. Third down conversion, Falcons won that 4 out of, they was 100% there, I think. And third down conversion 3 there. Fourth down conversions, the Cardinals went for it 3 times. One of them, they grabbed a nuts to throw a woo baby. Red zone percentage, look, man, 14 to 100. Boy, 4 red zone touchdowns. The Cardinals didn't score inside the red zone. Time of possession, 3 minutes. For over 3 minutes, 17 to 14. Now, Kyler Murray had a perfect QBR, 158.3 in the playoffs too. 415 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. Ritter still rose to the occasion with 108 QBR, 376. He did throw 2 picks. He was sacked once in the game. When it comes down to the run game, you've seen it. 25 carries for Keontae Ingram for 193. So there in 195, he had 193 of it, 7.7. That's amazing. 8 yards to carry, 2 touchdowns. Weaver stepped up though. He had 12 carries for 79 yards, 6'6", 2 touchdowns on the ground. Both of their running backs seen the end zone twice. In the receiver department, Ezekiel Bird, 5 catches, 196, 39.2-yard average, 2 touchdowns in the game. Tucker had his 7 catches for 145 yards, did not see the end zone. Drake London had 4 for 99. He did see the end zone. Trey McBride, some might say might be the best tight end in the league. 3 catches, 76 yards. He scored twice in that game. The other touchdowns came from Rondell Moore and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts also contributed to 7 catches, 50 yards in this game. When it comes down to defense, though, let's go look at the stats that matter for me. 10 tackles for Randy Phillips. He showed up from the D tackle position. 2 tackles for losses, a sack and a half. Tackle for loss department. 2, and then Ware had 2 as well. All right, look at the sack department. 1.5 there. Ware had 1.5. Cameron Thomas had a half a sack, and Pat Falk had it. So 1 sack from the Arizona Cardinals, 3 from the Falcons. Interception department, Isaiah Simmons had a pick, and they said he's the best safety in the league. Self-proclaimed best safety in the league. James Holt had an INT in this game. They duked it out, man. When you go look at the box score, 7-3 first quarter, 14-10 Falcons won that second quarter, but then Arizona put it on 14-21 to 14 points in the second quarter. So they gave up 35 points in the second half, and the the Cardinals only gave up 14. Mm-mm-mm. When you say the title of the episode is Shooter, they was shooting at each other, boy. They was getting at it. Shootout for real. All right, now you get to the other late game that was played, and that was the Panthers and the Seahawks. The Seahawks traveled into Carolina, and let's see what happened in this game, man. Box score, as we can see, 329 yards. The Seahawks won that, 294 for the Cardinals. The Seahawks won the running game, 138 to 120. The Seahawks also won the passing game, 191 to 174. So what I see right now, just by seeing these stats, these stat lines, the defense won the game for the Carolina Panthers. 12 first downs to 15 on the Panthers side. Coming down the total yards, the Seahawks did the most, 424 to 370. 5 turnovers, though. You can't turn the ball over 5 times and expect to win a ball game. Again, like I said, for that score to be 47-31, the Carolina Panthers defense stepped up, stepped out, showed up. 2 INTs for them, too. So when you look at 2-point conversion, they went for it once. Red zone 25, 42%. 2 offensive touchdowns in the red zone, 1 red zone field goal. 18.44 to 13. He had the ball 5 minutes longer than the Seahawks had the ball. Individual stats: 114.3. McCorral had 186 yards, 2 touchdowns in the INT. The rookie, Demario James, he had 220 yards passing, but he had 2 touchdowns and 4 INTs, and he was sacked 3 times in the day. Running attack, Kenneth Walker does what he always do, 17, 115, 7 yards a carry, and a touchdown. But Derrick Henry also had 7 yards a carry and a touchdown, 11 for 81. Zeus showed up in this game, 10 carries for 23 yards. 2.3 didn't show up, but he got a touchdown. That's all that matters. He produced points on the board. In the receiving game, Ricky Newman walked under 1 bomb. Jamar Chase had 5 catches for 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Noah Fant had 3 for 55 and a touchdown. And that's how that happened in that game. We keep going over here. Look at my favorite 2 tackles for losses. 3 out of Barno. Roquan Smith had 2, and a couple other guys had 2. Sacks, though. Barno had 3, and then Jamal Adams had a sack in the game. INTs, 5 of them was thrown. Khalid Williams, step 2. Kuechly had a pick. Chin had a pick. And Tyreek Smith for the Seahawks had an INT in this game. Panthers moving on to the Final Four. All right, so that leads to your matchup with the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. Panthers matching up. Just a year ago, they played in the same game, and they matching up. Let's shoot over here to Los Angeles. And while the Vegas Raiders only had to travel 3 to 4 hours to get to Los Angeles to be able to play the Chargers for the 3rd time. It's 3rd time a charm, as you can see, 34-24 with the score. Box score. Cardinals won that. The Chargers won that 348 yards to 332. It's really even there. The Raiders, 13 rushing yards in this game. They got shut. 120. Let me see what you're trying. Shut that shit, nigga. Ain't running the ball on me. Gotta do something else. But guess what? The Raiders said, fuck it. We can't run the ball, but it hurts in the playoff game. And I think that's why the 10-point score is where it's at right now. You can't run the ball at all like that. You rely on one-dimensional. You can't play the Chargers and be one-dimensional. They're one of those teams that you just can't be one-dimensional playing against. 319, offensive passing yards of 228, first downs 18 to 16. Raiders won that. Total yards gained, Chargers did that, 348. Turnovers 5 to 2. That's the game. I mean, for somebody to turn the ball over 5 times like that and only lose by 10 to a juggernaut, that ain't bad though. Something's going on in there in Vegas right now. 2 turnovers for the Chargers. They really don't turn the ball over as much as anybody else does, for sure. And when they're not turning the ball over, they're at their best. 3rd down conversions, 4 to none. And come down here to the red zone, 2 touchdowns apiece. Both of them, Chargers had a field goal in the red zone. Time of possession, 17 to 14. So they added 3 more minutes than the Raiders had the ball. Justin Herbert, 107, 241, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks in this game. He's only sacked once. And the team that gets the most sacks in the league only gave up 1 sack. Justin Herbert and that offensive line played pretty well for them. Aaron Rodgers, 76.4 QBR, 352 touchdowns, he threw 4 picks, and was sacked 3 times in the game. Again, when you're one-dimensional, it's hard to do anything. Jaleel Ruggs touched the ball 20 times for 111 yards, 5.6 yards a pop. He had a touchdown in the game. Herbert also took off and got 12 yards, 6 yards a pop. Take-ups really got shut. He scored, but he had 1.7 yards a carry, and McCaffrey had 1 yard as well. In the receiving game, let's look at this for a second. Jerry Jeudy been doing it for him all year long. 6 catches, 125, 20.8, and a touchdown. San Antonio Brown had 5 catches for 44 yards. McKitty had 4 for 32. He scored a touchdown in this game. And then Mike Williams slid in here, got 1 catch for a touchdown in the game. This is a really good defensive battle here, man. I know 34 points put up on the board, but this was a really good defensive battle. Two teams that know each other, play each other, twice a season, every year, and it showed in the playoffs, man. They came fighting and punching and sprawling, and Chargers stepped in front of it and was able to pull that win out. Simple as that. Defensively, let's look at the Chargers and see what happened. Tackle for losses. They had a guy that had 3 in Shazier, and look, man, this is the best aware linebacker group in the league right now, man. There's no better linebacker group in the league than these guys right here, man. They all are dogs, and they all got high awareness. So it's going to be hard to really do anything on that Chargers team. They pride themselves in building their linebacker room up, and they've been doing that shit since they joined the league. Linebackers first, right? Tylon Shazier, 3 tackles for loss. Telfair, 3, and Battle, 3, all from the same draft class. All right, 2.5 sacks from Telfair. Bosa had a half a sack, and the D tackle Tito had a half a sack. INT department, you had 1 pick for Battle. Woods had a pick in this game. Derwin James had an INT, and then Spike Teller had a pick in this game as well. All right, so the Chargers beat the Raiders by 10 and move back to the AFC Championship game. The game that you probably should have watched. This game was really good. And the Baltimore Ravens rematch against the New England Patriots in the regular season. The Patriots won that battle 49-35. They were in the shootout. This game went different directions a couple of times in this game, and it showed explosiveness. It showed how explosive the Patriots are offensively. It also showed how explosive the Ravens can be offensively. Now, the run game wasn't there for neither one of the two teams. And the Ravens are the #1 rushing team in the league as a team, and the Patriots did a really good job taking that away from them. But let's go look at the stats, see what happened. All right, so 7-7 first quarter. First of all, we got ball first, open the kickoff, hit stick, fumble, and gives the ball to the Patriots. So not only did they end up with the ball first, they also got ball back at halftime, and that played a big role in what happened at halftime. So let's talk about it. So 410 yards for the New England Patriots. The Ravens had 462. 126 on the ground. Ravens won that. 126-83. Passing yards 336 to 327. Ravens won that. First down 18-17. Ravens won that. Total yards 530 to 502. Ravens won that. Turnover department, they both had 3 apiece. Ravens fumbled the ball twice through an interception, and the New England Patriots turnovers were all interceptions. Third down conversion 3 and 2. Look at the red zone. 1 offensive touchdown for the New England Patriots, 2 for the Ravens. Red zone field goals 1 and 1. So both of them kicked red zone field goals. All right, so time of possession, and a lot of that time of the possession was won in the fourth quarter with four and some change left to seal the game, right? So for that part, you figure you take that 4 minutes and eat that up. It was an even game, time of possession as well. Let's look at the player stats. Lamar had 132.2 QBR. He threw for 336 yards, 4 touchdowns, threw 1 pick. Lamar did not get sacked in that game, but Mike Hubbard only was sacked twice in that game. He had 342 yards for 108 QBR. He threw 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks in the game, with 66 yards being his longest pass of the game. And look, when you go to the completion percentage, they both was kind of getting it together right now. 65%, 17 for 26 for Mike Cubbage, and 15 for 16, 93% for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was like out in the passing game. When it comes down to the run game, both of them really didn't do what they do normally, right? 24 carries and 93 yards and 11 for 43 yards there. Both of them averaged 3.9 yards a game. AI for the first game all year did not see the end zone. And that up and coming, CJ He's Cummings had a touchdown in the game too. Be aware of the number 1 pick out of last year's draft. He is like that. Mike Cubbage carried the ball 4 times for 40 yards. Lamar Jackson 5 for 27 yards. On the fumble department, you see both quarterbacks fumble. Mike Cubbage had a fumble. Lamar Jackson had a fumble. Mike McCune had a fumble in this game. When you get to the receiver game right now, Tyquan Thornton, man, bombs away. 33.9 yards a pop. He had 2 touchdowns. He was running under them things. 7 catches for 237 yards. He is the truth. And in NT's New England scheme, look, man, they got that let it go. It's called let it go. That's their offense. What he told me over the phone. We got that let it go style play, right? We just let that bitch go. Go. Show me what you're used to with Thornton. But who stepped up for the Ravens in the passing game? Tyrone Vick went crazy in this game. 5 catches for 123 yards and a touchdown. But just the yards, most people be like, I ain't crazy. It was the things he did after he caught that football. As you can see, 10.8 yards a pop after the catch. Which is ridiculous. Kelsey showed up as well. He had 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. And Rashad Bateman, 3 for 91, 2 touchdowns. Pizzle had 2 catches, 43 yards and a touchdown. They held White Mike to 2 catches, 43 yards. That's that. But offensively, they both was explosive, and they came down to the last drive in the field goal. Baltimore managed the clock at the end, ran that shit out, played butt ball as much as possible until they burnt all their timeouts and then kicked the game-winning field goal to get out of there with the win. Defensively, the numbers ain't going to completely stand out. 7 tackles for Ted Lockhart. O'Neal Scott, the user, 7 tackles. Adolphe had 6 tackles, 2 tackles for losses. Did not get a sack in this game whatsoever. Tackle for losses together, though. Adolphe had 2. Tyson Reed played huge in this game. Might have been the MVP of the game. 6 tackles, 2 tackles for losses, and 2 interceptions in the game. Travis Jones also had 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack. And then Zach Randall had 3 tackles, 2 tackles for loss in this game. In the INT department, Tyson Reed had 2, O'Neal Scott had 1, and Kyle Hamilton had a pick in this game. And pretty much that sealed the fate for the New England Patriots. Again, the New England Patriots kicked the ball off and was getting ball back at halftime, made us fumble, scored first. We played a little quick shootout, and then we went up 21-7 on them. They scored on a 1-play touchdown. Then we got the ball, went down the field right before halftime, got to the 1-yard line, threw an interception to better go up 28-14. Instead, we come out of halftime 21-14. They go right down the field, tie the game up 21-21, and it was a back and forth game. It was a hell of a football game. If you can watch it, go back and watch it. It was really good. So that leaves the matchup to the rematch of the Chargers and the Ravens. The difference is Baltimore is traveling to Los Angeles now versus them being home in last year's loss to the Chargers. Big time matchup. All 4 teams know each other. This is going to be some fun football, man. Tune in and tell me what y'all think as we are on our way to our 5th off season. Let's get to it. All right, fellas. And it's the franchise guru. If you stayed up with me, I appreciate you. We'll holler at you on a later tip. Holla. Oh yeah, Max got fired tonight too. Just so y'all know. I'm looking for a new co-host. Who down? If you are down, DM me.